This thing is a monster. But is it really that big of a difference? Hi guys, this is Abhishek and you're watching Abronis. So today we'll be discussing about whether you should buy the M1 Macbook Air which came out in November 2020 or you should consider and upgrade to new M2 Macbook Air which was launched in July 2022. So watch till the end of the video to decide which one is the ideal for you. So let's start with performance. I got this MacBook Air in April 2022 and it has been my daily driver since then. This one is the base model which has 256 gigs of SSD, 8 GB of RAM, 8 core CPU and 7 core GPU. And it won't be an overkill if I say that this thing is a monster. You won't believe that this is actually a first generation product. You will start noticing the performance as soon as you lift the lid up. The screen turns on within fraction of a second, almost instantly, and the time for the screen to turn on has never increased. Opening apps or software is a breeze, and even the ever power hungry Google Chrome fails to make the M1 chip stutter. I've edited my couple of videos on this device and used Final Cut Pro, and not for even a single split second did the MacBook lag while editing. I actually saw various reviews in which the 4K HDR content was edited on this MacBook Air. As you can notice that most of my videos are edited on 1080p. So the performance was expected. The MacBook Air is a fanless machine, unlike the MacBook Pro. So it is completely silent even when working on heavier activities. You can connect only one external display to this MacBook Air with a maximum resolution of 6K and 30 FPS. But it hasn't bothered me since I didn't feel much need to do it. The sound of this device is rich with great balance overall, so the media consumption experience is great. Apple has since released even more powerful chips. This includes the M1 Pro, M1 Max, M1 Ultra, which are used in more expensive Apple machines like the MacBook Pro. Apple has released a second generation M2 chip for the latest MacBook, so it means that the M1 inside this review model is far from Apple's most powerful laptop processor. But is it really that big of a difference? I think the M1 chip is sufficient for more than 90% of the users for daily use. The design of MacBook Pro and MacBook Air consists aluminum in order to provide a sturdy product with a cleaner, more aesthetically pleasing appearance. While the body won't likely break apart when dropped, the soft aluminum is more likely to sustain scratches. So even while your computer may withstand the fall, it probably won't emerge without any dents. I have two minor dents on the back which probably were caused while traveling. The MacBook's hinges, I believe, are a little bit looser at the very end, but it is in no way fragile. The battery is attached to the body and the RAM is soldered to the motherboard, so it is very less likely that it would come off in an event of a fall. So I don't think there's going to be any issue for at least 3 to 4 years in terms of durability, as all the components are tightly packed in this small form factor, which offers a good segue to our other topic, portability. So the MacBook Air weighs in at 1.29 kgs. It is 10.9 mm thick and the body is 13.8 inches across. The actual screen is 13.3 inches, but let's discuss that later. The MacBook is super easy to carry anywhere. Even though it's not the lightest of the laptops out there, the sleek design makes it very portable. The laptops which are lightweight and compact are usually more portable and are more suitable for long-term use. And the MacBook Air ticks all the boxes. Now let's talk about the display. The M1 MacBook Air has a 13.3-inch 16:10 Retina display with a resolution of 2560 x 1600. I would have loved if the bezels were smaller. The screen supports P3 wide color gamut, which has 25% more color than sRGB, which makes the screen a bit more colorful than its previous generation. It isn't that big of an upgrade because it was already sharp and bright for most use cases. The MacBook has True Tone technology, just like the iPhones, so it automatically adjusts the color temperature of the display to your environment for a more natural color. The max brightness is 400 nits, which is sufficient for indoor use, but as the screen is non-anti-glare, it may cause some problems while using it outdoors. Just to put things into perspective, the average laptop's brightness is around 200 to 300 nits, and even you don't use that at 100%. Let me know in the comment section if you think 400 nits is sufficient or not. The webcam is where it feels outdated. It has a 720p HD camera, which is okay in natural light, but in low light, it sucks. Next, connectivity. With a pair of Thunderbolt 3 ports on one side, for data transmission and charging, some ports would have been better. And it would have been even better if they weren't crammed together on the same side. This might be problematic if you wish to connect many dongles and adapters. There's also 3.5mm headphone jack. It supports Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0, which supports fast speeds for data transfers. Now let's discuss one of the most important things of the laptop, battery life. The M1 Macbook Air has a 49.9 watt-hour battery. I can never remember when I charged my MacBook last time. But on average, the battery lasted for around 12 hours of regular usage. This includes web browsing, video editing, playing games, and watching videos. That's far ahead from most of its competitors. This thing kills in terms of battery life. The standby time is also too good. The battery percentage drops in points overnight, if it does drop. And last but not the least, the price. The M1 MacBook Air costs around 85,000 rupees, and if you combine it with offers and exchange, you can get it for as low as 60,000 rupees. Even if you consider its price at 85,000 rupees and compare it to M2, which will cost you at least 1,15,000 rupees, you can get many MacBook accessories in the saved money. Now let me give you a brief comparison between M1 and M2. I won't bore you with the statistics, but I'll tell you the actual usage scenarios. The M2 MacBook Air is around 18% faster than M1 MacBook Air, and it also uses less energy in doing so. So if you decide to export a video on M1 MacBook Air and it takes around 5 minutes, it will take 4 minutes to do the same on the M2 MacBook Air. And it's not true every time. The M2 MacBook Air is a boxier design, but I still prefer the wedge-shaped design as it makes my hand rest easily on the laptop. The maximum brightness of the M2 MacBook Air is 500 nits, while that of the M1 MacBook Air is 400 nits. So the visibility is a bit better on the M2. The weight of the M2 MacBook Air is 50 grams lesser than M1. The screen of the M2 MacBook Air is 13.6 inches, while that of the M1 counterpart is 13.3 inches. The webcam gets an upgrade to 1080p on M2. The battery on the M2 MacBook Air is 52.2 watt-hour, which will give you an extra backup of 2 to 2.5 hours. So to conclude, the M1 MacBook Air was already a decent laptop for basic computing, productivity, and even video editing. Those who already own an M1 MacBook Air do not need to upgrade unless they require the MagSafe connector. Those who still own an Intel-based MacBook may consider upgrading, since Apple claims a 15 times gain in power over previous Intel versions. Those who don't already own a MacBook and want to purchase one should definitely choose for M2 model over M1 if they can afford the extra 30,000. However, M1 MacBook Air is plenty fast for most of the users, including me. I really hope that Apple will roll out the M1 MacBook Air updates for a longer time, since it is Apple Silicon itself. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.